YouTube, what is up? James MTG Biggie here, and we are back finally with a standard deck tech. Those who have been following the channel from the beginning know that I have been building and brewing list for standard Grixis control since the beginning of the channel, which was right around before Amonkhet came out. So we have a rotation on our hands and a brand new set coming out, and I think the deck is going to look a bit different now. So here's what I've been messing with. As you all know, if we're playing Grixis, if we're playing blue and we're a control deck, and we have access to Torrential Gearhulk, that's our dude. That is our main win condition. But the mana changes quite a bit. We don't have access to man lands, which is a huge bummer. Outside of that, the mana is a little bit worse. We are playing a lot of basics. We have 4 islands, 4 mountains. I believe we're on 3 swamps. And then we get into 4 Evolving Wilds because of another card that we have from the new set. 4 Spirebluff Canal. And then we're playing with the reprinted Buddy lands or Check lands or whatever. Drowned Catacombs, as well as Dragonskull Summit as a 3 of and a 2 of. And then we have 1 of each of our colored cycling lands. So 27 lands total. We do have a high mana curve, so it's important that we hit all of our land drops. And the fact that a couple of our lands cycle will help if we do flood out. It'll help to kind of control that a little bit. We're also playing with another card as a 1 of from the new set that becomes a land, coincidentally. This is Search for Azcanta. It's a legendary 2-mana enchantment. At the beginning of our upkeep, we get to look at the top card of our library. We could choose to put it in our graveyard. And then if we have 7 or more cards in our graveyard, which used to be known as Threshold back in the day, we may transform it into Azcanta the Sunken Ruin, which is a legendary land that taps for a blue mana, or we could play a blue and 2, and we get to Impulse, basically. Look at the top 4 cards, reveal a non-creature, non-land, put it in our hand, and the rest on the bottom. So a very powerful card, I think. And exactly what a control deck wants to be able to set up to do late game. Just repeatable card filtering over and over again at the end of every one of our opponent's turns is insanely powerful. So we're actually technically a 27.5 land or 28 land deck. Beyond that, and 1 Crypt of the Eternals. Sorry, I missed that. Tri-land that makes either colorless mana, or we could pay 1 of any color, tap it for black, blue, or red. And we also gain a life when it comes into play, which is not very relevant. Of course, Torrential Gearhulk we already spoke about. Nicol Bolas as the 5th win condition in the deck. And then we were playing a playset of Opt, which is a very good cantrip, very good at card filtering. You'll notice that this deck filters its cards a lot. And 1 mana, instant speed, scry 1 and draw a card lets us find answers better than anything we've had in Standard for a very long time. For cheap on the low part of the mana curve. And then we get Spell Pierce in Standard now, so that is a 1 of in our counter suite. As well as 4 Censors, because the cycling on this card is great. I stand by that still. Like this card very, very much. And then 2 Supreme Wills, 2 Disallows, rounding out our counter spell suite. And then we have some good removal, 2 Abrade, and 4 Lightning Strike, which is very awesome to be back in Standard. Lightning Strike I feel is kind of important too, because it is instant speed, Lightning Bolt for 1 more mana. We get to flash it back with Torrential Gearhulk, which is important because we don't have Wandering Fumarole anymore. So we're going to want to be able to finish off our opponents with Lightning Strike some of the time, kind of like a very expensive Bolt, Snap, Bolt interaction in Standard. I think Lightning Strike, Torrential Gearhulk, Lightning Strike, although seems like a ton of mana, it's a way to finish our opponent off. Beyond that, some other pure card draw. We have 2 of Hieroglyphic Illumination and 2 Glimmer of Genius. I think the upside of being able just to cycle Hieroglyphic Illumination early is enough incentive to play 2 of them over the other 2 Glimmers, because we're not doing anything with energy in this deck. We don't have Ether Hubs, and we don't have Harness Lightning. I didn't want to load up on the energy cards. So Glimmer is still very good at finding cards, but it is clunky at 4 mana, so we have a little more flexibility here with Hieroglyphic Illumination. Outside of that, another new spell we get is Walk the Plank, which is really good removal. It's 2 mana, destroy target non-merfolk creature at sorcery speed. The 2 black, double black, is kind of tough early game, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a ton of dinosaurs around, and I wanted a surefire answer to most of the dinosaurs that exist in the set. I think that deck's going to be just obviously very powerful, and while Fatal Push misses a lot of their stuff because it costs more on the mana curve, and our burn spells, our lightning strikes don't catch the toughness because the dinosaurs are bigger, I think a solid destroy target dinosaur is worth having even at the clunkier cost. Outside of that, we have a 1 of Vraska's Contempt, which I feel like this is a great spell to flash back with a Torrential Gearhulk. 4 mana, instant speed, exile creature, planeswalker, so we get Hero's Downfall basically, and you gain 2 life. Cost 1 more mana, but I think very worth it because we can target it. You can see a lot of this deck works at instant speed, where the older versions we had to play a lot of sorcery speed stuff. So, outside of that, we have 1 main deck sweeper, an Hour of Devastation. Again, a very good card anyway, but I think this card's value goes up because of dinosaurs. The fact that we have a sweeper that deals 5 damage to everything is pretty solid. So that is our main deck for now. As far as the sideboard goes, I wanted to have a decent mix of options. And of course, sideboarding all depends on your meta and how the standard meta shakes out. So I think our main deck is a little soft to mono red. So we're going to be running a pair of Fatal Pushes and a pair of Sweltering Suns to help shore that matchup, as well as another Abrade for the third of that card. So we have incidental artifact removal and just another good solid removal spell for a small creature. And then for the dinosaurs matchup, to shore that up a bit more, we can go up to a second Hour of Devastation. Just a really good sweeper. And then we have a playset of Duress. This is going to help us if there are control mirrors, anything like that. Also, being able to strip away any sort of annoying sideboard hate that's brought in against us, anything like that. Duress is always a great sideboard card in every format it's legal in. Then we have the second, Vraska's Contempt. Again, just solid removal, flashbackable with Gearhulk, just so we have more redundancy to that. And then we're trying out a pair of Sorcerous Spyglass, a very interesting artifact. As it enters the battlefield, you look at your opponent's hand, you then choose any card name, and then basically it pithing needles that card. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated. So it's like a half a Duress and a Pithing Needle in one card for 2 mana, which I feel is pretty solid. I know there's some new Planeswalkers in the format. It's nice to get information and then be able to make a play with that information. So we're going to try out a pair of those. Also, being colorless is very nice so it's not mana hungry at all. And then the last card we have is a new one. We have a 2 of Perilous Voyage, which some number of this card I think could be main deckable. It's 1 and a blue, and return target non-land permanent to its you don't control to its owner's hand if its converted mana cost was 2 or less, and then scry 2. So, bounce something scry 2 at instant speed. It's only hitting 2 mana or less, so a tempo play like bouncing your opponent's mana dork, scrying 2, slow them down and try to help you dig more, I think is a pretty decent card. We'll see how it plays out. Again, it's hard to make a sideboard without playing any of the format. Although I have tested a touch on untap.in, this is basically a format that's uncharted right now. There's no standard for it. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I feel like this is a good place to start, a good basic skeleton. Going forward, this deck didn't lose a lot outside of mana, so if the mana works and we can tune it and adjust it as needed, I think Grixis Control is still absolutely playable. The one card that made me really excited was the Search from Azcanta, or Azcanta. I can't say that at all, sorry. This card excited me quite a bit, and I wanted to test with more of them. I tried out, started as high as 3, and then whittled it down to 1 because it's kind of clunky otherwise. In multiples, it's not great, although it does kind of fuel itself to fill your graveyard. You can legend rule them out, but it's sort of inefficient in that manner. But in the late game, it's very good. It has proven to be very nice to have just built-in card filtering. So that is what the deck looks like. Like I said, the mono-red match may be a little bit tough. Dinosaurs, again, is going to be a matter of sequencing and digging for our removal and our sweepers. So the deck will probably be adjusted accordingly to the meta, however it shakes out. I feel like Dinosaurs is going to be the big bad guy for a minute, so I wanted to make the main deck kind of have that in mind at least a little bit. Either way, that's what I'm dealing with. This, of course, is not the deck tech from the video I put up of the Ixalan spoilers, where people are supposed to vote and choose the archetype that I build. That video I will link down below, so if you guys haven't seen that, you can go ahead and vote, and we're going to make another deck tech. Honestly, I'm probably going to make a few different standard deck techs with the new set, and with some new archetypes in mind, because standard finally, after rotation, seems a little bit more exciting now than it did before. So here's hoping that we have a nice, fun, healthy format. And for those that were looking for a starting point with Grixis Control, I think this is a solid place to begin. Adjust accordingly as you wish, or for what you're expecting in your local meta. That's what control decks do. You're supposed to be able to adjust for the threats that you're planning on facing. And so hopefully this allows you to do so. Let me know what you guys think down below. Please like and comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, what adjustments you would make. If there are any cards I overlooked completely, I tried to wait for the most of the spoiler to come out before I made the brew, and I don't think there's anything I really missed. Another consideration was like Essence Scatter and some number in the main deck, which you could adjust the specific counter spells as you need to as well. So that being said, I look forward to hearing from all of you, and I'll talk to you guys again very soon.